Engineers, I know the way you think because I'm an engineer myself. We're organized, data-driven, but also thoughtful. We're problem solvers. We know that poorly engineered designs and poorly thought out solutions just don't work. So I have to admit, it has come as a surprise to me that more engineers haven't recognized the failed path that our country is on. A path paved with poorly engineered policies that aren't based on data or facts, and predictably are creating bad outcomes. My name's Randy Beardsley. I'm a veteran that served our country in the Army. I have a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering and a master's degree in business. And I spent the last 35 years working hard in industry to support my family. I'm no politician. I've held real jobs with real responsibilities my whole life. I understand how things work and what it takes to be successful. And I recognized several years back that our country wasn't working right anymore. It was broken. And although I'm just a regular working American, I couldn't be silent anymore. And I began to speak out on behalf of all our futures. And that's how I got to the point of reaching out to you today. Ironically, you've been told every night on TV that we're winning. But I competed a lot in my day, and this, my friends, is losing. You and your family are losing everywhere you turn. Lost jobs, lost rights, lost safety, lost opportunity. But astute as many engineers are when it comes to analyzing data, many engineers haven't noticed this losing streak yet. And this is because they're using the media as their source of information. The media, a group without allegiance to your family or our country, likes to use emotions and deception instead of facts to fool you into supporting policies that are bad for your future. They love to praise people and promote policies that are bad for your future, while they demonize people and discredit policies that are good for your future. Whether it's the candidates for election or the solution to any problem, the media just gives you bad options to pick from. Options that as engineers, if we were doing our job and analyzing the facts, we'd reject. If someone proposed this plan, let's run this 120 volt motor with this 4160 volt feed, you'd immediately reject that because that isn't going to work. Yet, we vote in candidates every election and implement policies that have the same chance of success as this. None. Policies like the selling off of our engineering and manufacturing jobs to the highest foreign bidder. And I bet you could calculate the outcome of this bad plan. We've lost 6 million manufacturing jobs over the last 30 years, even though our population grew by 120 million during this time. And this loss of jobs has caused an almost $1 trillion trade deficit that's made us beholden to foreign countries for life's basic needs. Should we pick up this 150-ton load with this 15-ton crane? Of course not. You'd reject that outright. But yet our government implements plans with even a lower chance of success than this every day. And we rejected those outright. Plans like allowing millions of people to break our law and enter our country illegally. And they're rewarding these illegal aliens when they get here with better benefits than you're going to get in retirement after working your whole life. Or these endless war for profit schemes that have killed and maimed millions of Americans and wasted trillions of dollars that should have been invested in our future. Crazy. We stopped that lift. We allowed these other bad plans to go forward. And you wouldn't let anyone substitute PVC pipe for the rebar in your next bridge you build, but you'd let them substitute failure for success in our country for 100 years straight. Failure that's destroyed so many opportunities in our country that we have to spend over $1 trillion a year on welfare just to keep people barely surviving at the poverty line. Or how about the policy that substitutes the rights of criminals in place of those of law-abiding Americans? You don't need a calculator to figure out the outcome of that one. But you may need a supercomputer to keep track of the victims, since our families are now victims of over 1 million violent crimes and 7 million property crimes every year. And I know you're an engineer and not an economist, but it still should be obvious to you that running up a $34 trillion debt is going to have a bad outcome for our children's future. But the media has tricked so many Americans to think that this is winning. And for the ones that they haven't tricked, they've convinced them, even many engineers, to think that these problems are too complex to solve. But they're wrong. We can solve these problems using sound engineering principles. And with almost 3 million engineers in our country to help, I know we can implement a plan that puts our families and our country first. And that plan is the Beardsley Doctrine. The doctrine itself exposes and rejects 20 of the key failed policies, and it outlines what needs done to fix them. Take a look at it, analyze it. I think you agree that the numbers add up. This is the right path forward. The American Death March series and the 50 Years of Failure series are must-watches for those with an engineering mindset, because it factually exposes these failed policies and their consequences. If you have had any doubt, after watching these, it'll be clear why trusting the media is a bad plan, and why doing nothing is no longer an option. And the press plan is the action plan. Shows you what specific actions you should take to create the conditions that will allow us to implement the solutions that help you and your family. If you're not at my website, beardsleydoctrine.com, go there now and take a look at all the components of the doctrine, so that starting today, you can make a difference to put your family and our country first again. And follow me on X so you can stay up to date on the plan to solve this problem. But implementing the policies of my doctrine, it won't be easy, because our enemies have amassed so much wealth from our country and from other countries from their war for profit schemes, that they've been able to buy up all our politicians, all our media, and to raise an army of enforcers to make sure you continue on your death march. And they want to enlist you as one of their enforcers also. Enforcers are people who support these failed policies, or use their position and power to trick or coerce other Americans to support them. Most engineers are busy with work and family, and they're hoping that the media can fool you into using your money to support the businesses and organizations that promote this failure, and to convince you to waste your vote on candidates without an allegiance to your future. But when you know the truth, you and your friends won't be fooled into being an enforcer anymore. And a part of the press plan will help you stop being an enforcer by guiding you through all the ways where you may be acting as one and you didn't even know it. There are even some engineers that make a conscious choice to become an enforcer. These are primarily engineers in leadership positions. And like Judas, they made a deal with the devil to fool or force you into going along in exchange for a bag of gold. But if you made that deal with the devil or know someone who has, the doctrine, and especially the American Death March series, will cause you to reconsider it. Judas realized too late, but it's not too late for you or someone you know to reconsider. And finally, if they haven't been able to fool you or make a deal with you into supporting these failed policies, they may have convinced your employer to support and finance these failures. So your effort at work helps them fund this failure. In a perfect world, you just go get another job. But it isn't always that easy. So if you or someone you know is being coerced to act as an enforcer at work because you have to feed your family, don't worry, because you can still do your part. Although you may have to toe the line at work, you can still implement the press plan the rest of the time. And those actions will help you work towards independence until the time comes when you can fully cast off the role of an enforcer. Engineers, we're problem solvers, we're not enforcers. But for too long, we've left the problem solving of our country's problems to others. But I hope it's clear now, their plans aren't going to work. We need to work together on a plan that will work. And the sooner you get involved, the sooner we'll create a better future for our family and our country.